Hello students, once again welcome back to our biology class. Myself Dr. Raghavendra here. So in today's class we are going to begin with a new chapter called as Biodiversity and Conservation. Yes, the most important and most fascinating chapter what we can say. Lots of variety of creatures, variety of plants, animals, okay, the birds, variety of things we are going to discuss in this chapter. And this chapter, yes, will give you an idea how magnificent is our earth. So today's chapter what we are going to learn is biodiversity and its conservation. Why we need to conserve our biodiversity? So biodiversity biodiversity and its conservation. So imagine a alien is coming on our earth from different galaxy. It will yes be astonished, it will be surprised, it will be amazed because of the existence of the various kind of living organisms after seeing here. So this is the earth, the only planet where we can find the life. So scientists are trying a lot to find out any other planet do have the life. Still we did not get any clear cut information about this. There are lots of stories about the what you can say unidentified flying objects, UFO we call it as. There are the stories related with the aliens, many things are there, but those are all very nice stories to listen. But what we are here on this earth, this is the living planet we say. So we need to protect the various type of the life existing over here. The human is dominating on all other creatures and only human population is increasing, rest of the other species population is decreasing. Well, when we talk about biodiversity as such, what is this? The word biodiversity, the term biodiversity popularized by biodiversity, yes, biodiversity term popularized by popularized by yes sociobiologist, we can say that sociobiologist Edward Wilson gave the term biodiversity, and he is the one who popularized this term. So what are the things, yes, we are going to discuss under this chapter? Let me tell you one by one. We will be discussing about few introductory points. Introduction as such, what is biodiversity, why it is so important, we will be discussing. Second, we can discuss about biodiversity types we are going to discuss. Number 3, we will be discussing about global and Indian biodiversity we are going to discuss. Number 4, patterns of biodiversity. So what is the pattern? Latitudinal gradients are there, latitudinal gradation, as well as there is too much of huge biodiversity that we can find in the Amazon forest. We will be discussing that. Then one more important hypothesis, it is mainly species area relationship hypothesis, which is given by Alexander von Humboldt. That also we are going to discuss. So other than this patterns, we are going to discuss about the importance of biodiversity. Importance of biodiversity. Then number 6, loss of biodiversity. Who is the reason for the loss of biodiversity? It is directly or indirectly, it's the human only. Well, number 7, the species or biodiversity conservation methods. Conservation. We are going to discuss all about these very essential and important subtopics comes under the chapter biodiversity and its conservation. Well, so I am going to tell you what is actually the biodiversity. As such, it is defined as, the biodiversity can be defined as the sum of all the living forms at different levels of biological organization. So the definition says that biodiversity is the sum of all living forms in the biological organization. So at different levels when we talk, the level can be starting from macromolecules, it can go up to biome level. So how it can be, let me tell you, the macromolecules actually they form mainly what we can say that the macromolecules they can form the biomolecules, they are of kind, and they can be forming the cell organelle. The cell organelle may be forming the cells may be forming the tissues may be forming the organs together, organ systems. These organ systems, yes, they form organisms forms populations, yes, further they form communities, ecosystems and communities. So various kind of communities together they form the biomes. So that's what we can say, that existence of the life or living organisms at different levels. It may be the level starts from macromolecule, it may end up to the biomes. So earth has a different kind of biomes. It may be grassland, it may be what we can say the desert, it may be the rainforest, okay, it may be alpine forest, and yes, alpine meadows we can say, it may be the grassland, variety of biomes, yes, we can find it. So all the biomes they have what we can say the living forms. So the biodiversity is a collection of living forms, different living forms that can be, yes, with the macromolecules it may be reaching up to the biome level. So macromolecules going to form the cell organelle form the cells to tissues to the mainly the organ systems, or then organ systems from the organism. So organism, yes, similar kind of organisms grouped together, they form the populations, yes, they form the ecosystem and communities. Such ecosystem communities form the biomes. So thus existence of the different form of the life on this earth, we call it as a biodiversity. So earth is also called as biosphere. Okay, so our earth is a biosphere having a different living organisms with rich biodiversity. Earth is the biosphere with various or variety of living organisms that starts with the unicellular organism up to it go to the multicellular organisms such as the plants and animals. Well, so this is all what we say mainly the biosphere. As such, when we just consider a simple account of the number of organisms, how many it may be, for instance, for example, as such, we can say that mainly there are variety of the beetle. Yes. So the beetles can be around 3 lakh. So the beetles can be around 3 lakh, that many, what we can say, the beetles do exist. And then there may be the orchids. Orchids can be of around 20,000 varieties orchids. So what I am telling you, the biodiversity means the existence of the variation. So existence of the variety of creatures. So orchids. Then fishes. Fishes can be of somewhere around 28,000 variety of species. And then ants. Yes, ants can be somewhere around again 20,000 types of ants. This is a simple example to say what is biodiversity. Biodiversity in simple words, existence of the variety of creatures, okay, from macromolecule level up to the biome level at different levels of the living organization or biological organization. You might have studied organism, population, ecosystem, and even the biome. All these forms the living organization. At different levels of living organization, yes, we find the life or living creatures, and that is what we talk about. That is what we call about biodiversity. So to say the variety as such, there may be the beetles. So hope you may be knowing what is beetle. Beetle are the insects. So they have the hard exoskeleton. They may be stem boring beetles. Okay. So beetles can be of somewhere around 3 lakh. And then yes, we can say that orchids may be around 20,000. Fishes may be around 28,000. Ants may be of 20,000 varieties or types of ants we can find. This is what we say mainly the biodiversity with definition and few examples. Let us go ahead now with what is biodiversity types we will discuss. Later we will discuss global and Indian biodiversity as well as yes, patterns of biodiversity we will discuss. Now let us understand mainly biodiversity type. I hope you got a very clarity about what is biodiversity. Yes, the biodiversity term is popularized by mainly Edward Wilson. So now let us understand what is Edward Wilson's view. So he is the person who gave the basic types of biodiversity that can be existing at a different level. So let us understand now the biodiversity as such, the types. So when we are talking about different types of biodiversity, well, so the types of biodiversity that can be well studied according to Edward Wilson, types of biodiversity. Okay, so according to Edward Wilson, a sociobiologist, he classified the biodiversity as number 1. So he gave the biodiversity as genetic diversity. Number 2, species diversity. Number 3, ecological diversity. So when we talk about genetic diversity, yes, based on the variety of type of genes, so based on their chromosome number, the variety of living organisms differ from one another. So that is what we talk about the genetic diversity. So genetic diversity example, let me tell you few of the examples here. So examples for genetic diversity, the rice plant, rice species or varieties can be of somewhere around 50,000 type of yes, rice we can find. Then mango as such, okay, mango we can find somewhere around 1,000 types. And then there is one more plant, Rawulfia vomitoria. Yes. So Rawulfia vomitoria, yes, it is mainly seen in the Himalayan region. So found in Himalaya. Okay, very few species we can say. Few species. Why this plant is so important? Because the plant produces a medicinal compound. Yes, we can say that the medicinal compound produced by plant Rawulfia vomitoria, yes, it is called as rasparine. So a medicinal important compound, yes, it is produced by this plant, and this rasparine is very essential to treat the blood pressure also. Yes, I hope you are able to understand this, so that we can further study all about the details of these important things. So rasparine is very essential and important. Fine. So let us understand now further, mainly to treat the, what we can say, yes, the blood pressure as such. So the genetic diversity says that yes, rice have 50,000 of varieties, mango has 1,000 varieties. Rawulfia vomitoria is one type of yes, plant, medicinally important plant. So thus we are going to study further more details about these. Well, so here the species diversity as such we need to understand. So all the geographic region doesn't have the same number of species. So to say simple example, species diversity as such. So species diversity, when we say example, Western Ghats have more amphibian species than Eastern Ghats. Why? Because Western Ghats favors the appropriate moisture, okay, appropriate amount of humidity. Yes, with all that, more number of amphibian species, better they survive, okay, and they reproduce well. That's why Eastern Ghats mainly having the lesser amphibian species compared with the Western Ghats. Like this, the species diversity also keep changing or varying. Now when you say about ecological diversity as such, what are the important things? Yes, we can say ecological diversity when we talk. So different kind of ecosystem based on a different type of biomes we can say. Here, ecological diversity as such, we can say that mainly the number of species in the, what we can say, India is the highest. Number of species in India more than Netherlands. More than, what we can say, that Scandinavian countries. What is this Scandinavian countries? They are mainly Norway, Finland, and mainly Sweden. So these regions put together, it is called as Scandinavian countries, and their geographic conditions may not be supporting as much as what we the India have the mainly the diversity in our geographic regions. Why that much diversity we have? Let me tell you, India has more biodiversity. So why? Because India has mainly desert. We do have the rainforest, we do have the estuaries, okay, alpine meadows, okay, yes, we do have what we can say that mainly the desert, rainforest, estuaries, then alpine meadows, we do have mainly the marine coastal regions, marine coast region, we can say that, and then we do have lots of mangroves where water logging will be there, mangroves, okay, then we do have lots of wetlands, okay, and we do have the coral reefs. So let me tell you desert, yes, as such. The Rajasthan as well as some part of Gujarat, yes, mainly with the Thar desert. So India has a desert such as Thar desert. We do have the Meghalayan evergreen rainforest. We do have the estuaries where the number of rivers merge with the what we can say the sea water. Estuaries we have, and then we have the alpine meadows in the Himalayan region. The large size grounds, yes, in the Himalayan region we can find at the base of the mountains we can find, but the grass is growing over there. We call it the alpine meadows. At a high altitude, yes, grassland do exist. Marine coastal regions, entire South India, at the Bay of Bengal as well as in Arabic Ocean, yes, we do have the two-sided coastal region. We do have the mangroves, lots of water logging and the growth of these plant mangroves. We do have the wetlands. We do have the coral reefs where mainly these coelacanths when they die they deposit lots of huge amount of calcium carbonate and they form mainly the coral island. So such kind of coral reefs also we have. With all these, India is having more biodiversity than that of the Scandinavian countries. So this is what we say ecological diversity. I hope you are understanding now. So other than this, ecological diversity also can be classified as number one, alpha diversity. Alpha diversity, yes, it is the mainly alpha diversity among, so within community, then number two, it is beta diversity. It says, yes, between the communities, diversity is between communities. Number three, we called as mainly gamma diversity. Okay, so among different biomes, different ecosystems, we can say ecosystems. So what we are observing, all these, the desert, rainforest, estuaries, alpine meadows, marine coast, mangroves, wetland, coral reefs, all are the example for mainly what we say the gamma diversity or yes different diversity. So alpha, beta and gamma diversity within the community means it may be the population, okay, so it may be the, we can say that population of the lion or population of the fishes or birds. Then between the communities mainly, yes, we can say that it is a pond ecosystem or lake ecosystem where we can find the bird population, fish population, aquatic plant population. Then yes, diversity among the different ecosystems or different biomes itself, we can say yes, this is the thing possible. So thus we are done with the mainly what is required, the discussion related with what we say the mainly the diversity as per the Edward Wilson, what he gave genetic diversity, he gave species diversity, he gave ecological diversity. So genetic diversity based on the number of genes, yes, we can say that based on the number of genes, yeah, and based on the number of chromosomes, the characters differs from one organism to other organism. And when we talk about the rice varieties as such, it may be existing nearly 50 3,000 variety of rice. Mango can be existing only 1,000 varieties of rice. Rauwolfia omatoria, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 species only, and it is mainly very important producing a medicinal chemical called as the rasparin that can be used to treat mainly the blood pressure. Well, species diversity, yes, it can be. The species richness also we can say. So, some of the geographic region have the high species richness. Some of the geographic regions have very less species richness. So, species richness in the desert is less compared with the forest. So, the Western Ghats as such, mainly from the belt, what we can say, the Goa and then Konkan region we say, and then Karavali region, Karwar, and then Mangalore, like this we keep on coming down. All that is mainly the Western Ghat we say, and then Eastern Ghat here, Assam as well as some part of Andhra Pradesh and then West Bengal, all that is Eastern Ghats we say. So there what we find mainly the presence of the species differs. So number of species differs because Western Ghats give the more favorable conditions than the Eastern Ghats. That's why number of amphibian species are higher in the Western Ghats. Ecological diversity, yes, it can be studied mainly as what you can say based on number of species mainly in India is more than that of the Scandinavian countries. Scandinavian countries are mainly the Norway, Finland and Sweden, which are the European nation or temperate countries we can say. The temperature doesn't go more than 22 or 25 degree, and mainly what we can say the availability of the sunlight as well as the water and the what we can say it is very less. As such diversity cannot exist more. When there is what we can say if the temperature is falling down, it may go up to the 0 degree. So under such situation variety of life cannot exist. Most of the European nations they have the least or less biodiversity than that of the countries which are comes on the tropical region. So the countries mainly coming on the tropical belt they have the higher what we can say species diversity because there is a fluctuation is very less. Okay, so the fluctuation is very less as such, and there is what we can say that mainly so the existence of favorable conditions are very high. With that, yes, one can have the more number of species surviving or thriving, reproducing over there. That is can be seen mainly the countries such as India having a variety of geographic regions, different kind of biomes that can help the survival of various variety of species. So we have desert, rainforest, estuaries, alpine meadows. Yes, desert, Thar desert, rainforest, Meghalaya forest, estuaries. So we have the largest river Ganga, Kaveri, Tunga, many more rivers. Okay, so these rivers merge into the ocean, and then the what can say the geographic zone where the river merged with the ocean, that is called as estuaries. And then alpine meadows, mainly in the Himalayan region, mountains at the basin of the mountain we can find the plain lands also. There the grassland, alpine meadows, marine coastal regions, then mangroves, then wetlands, coral reefs. All these forms the different types of what we can say mainly the geographic regions that help that mainly favors the survival of various type of living forms. Thus mainly the India is the highest ecological diversity what we can say. India is mainly forms the most important one of the important country or one of the important biodiversity among the 12 mega biodiversities. Yes, we do have only 2.4% of the land compared to the global land, but we have around 8.1% of the animal species in the India itself. Why it is possible? Because there is a diversity of geographic region exists that favors the diversity of the living organisms. So thus in today's class we have discussed about the what is biodiversity, existence of the different forms of the life. So diversity of the living organisms, that is called the biodiversity. Who popularized this term? Edward Wilson. Okay. So as such, when we talk about diversity, there can be, we have already studied, there can be nearly 3 lakh, yes, types of what we can say beetle. So there can be around 20,000 of orchids, there can be somewhere around 20,000 of ants, the fish species can be 28,000. So in terms of thousands only, the species are going up high. Why? Because of the favorable conditions. That is what we talk about the biodiversity. Well, in the next class we will discuss about mainly global and Indian diversity, as well as a pattern of biodiversity and its distribution. Till then, take care, study well. Thank you very much.